Ah, okay. Okay. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of The Sideline. My name is Rishi Oza, and today, I also apologize about how my bed looks. Today I'm going to be doing playoff predictions, and I'm going to be doing my awards, giving out my awards. Also go through what I thought, reviewing what I thought the standings would look like prior to the season starting, and then what my awards were prior to the season starting. Asher is not going to be here today. He'll be back next week. We'll talk about first week of the playoffs next week. But he's not here right now, so it's just gonna be me. I'll talk about my stuff. We'll see. Asher might review his next week. But I want to do my playoff predictions before the playoffs start, and with the playing game starting in about an hour. Just thought I'd do it before then. I don't know if I'll have time to do it right after. So let's start off with awards. Let me kind of show what I had beforehand. This was a video that we made. Um, this was a video that we did before. So let me see. Yeah. 1 second. This was a video we made beforehand. At the very beginning of the season. So it's been a while. So please excuse it if it's not good. But yeah, this is what my predictions were. I had Golden State at 1, Denver at 2, Clippers at 3, Phoenix at 4, Pelicans 5, Memphis 6, Minnesota 7, Mavs 8, Lakers 9, and then the Kings at 10. I did not expect Golden State to be this bad on the road. So that is the biggest thing about it. I didn't expect Golden State to be that bad on the road. I expected Denver. Honestly, I just expected Golden State to be better than Denver because of them coming off a championship. I expected them to come into the season with more rhythm. And I expected Denver to have a bit longer of a runway in terms of getting healthy. It seems like Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. really hit the ground running, and they didn't need that much time to get ready for the playoffs, or get ready just for the regular season and kind of ramp up after missing last year. And that really helped them to get the number 1 seed. Clippers at 3, they had injuries the whole year. So I expected them to be healthy. Yeah. Phoenix at 4, it's weird. I thought that everyone else would just be better than them, and they would just, because last couple of seasons they've been so good, and part of that has been the injuries that other teams have sustained. And I just thought with other teams getting healthy that they would kind of dip a little bit, but it was more of their own injuries. Devin Booker missed a lot of time, and then obviously with the trade for Kevin Durant, with him not being able to play for a while, they were really, really thin, and they lost a lot of games. That's why they're at 4 right now. Pelicans at 5, I expected them to be healthy. They were the 1 seed when they were healthy. Zion and Brandon Ingram barely played any games together this season, so that sucks. And obviously they're now eliminated, so they're not even in the playoffs. So I would say that's a miss. I don't know if you can really rely on Zion being healthy right now, so that really sucks. Memphis at 6, very, very much underestimated them. Same with the Kings, really underestimated those two teams and how good they are. Kind of just expected the Memphis to kind of just take a step back with how good everyone else was going to be in the West. Minnesota at 7, yeah. Mavs at 8. I mean, I guess I was kind of right. They missed the playoffs entirely. But even when they were healthy, they were around this side even before the trade for Kyrie. Lakers at 9, I think I got that pretty spot on. And then Kings at 10, another team that I underestimated. And I was kind of one of the only guys who I saw have the Kings in the playoffs. I'm not sure if Asher did. I think he might have. I think he might have Portland instead of the Kings. But I mean, I thought the Kings being at 10 was kind of like, whoa, having them in the playoffs after the last couple of seasons is bold, but apparently not bold enough. So those were my West predictions. East, Bucks. I got the top three right. Bucks, Sixers, Celtics. It just a different order. Swap Celtics and Sixers. I feel like that was pretty obvious before the season even started. Nets at 4. They actually ended up at 6, but I expected. We made this after Kyrie and KD had made their trade requests and made their everything, and they didn't even get traded. So I didn't expect it to happen at any point this season. So that was probably the biggest surprise in the Eastern Conference this season, was that happening. Miami, so them still being in the playoffs is pretty impressive, honestly, with all the trades. But I expected them to be a 4. I expected KD and Kyrie to actually be there. Miami at 5, very much overestimated them. They took a huge step back, and now they're going to be fighting for the 8th seed for the right to play Milwaukee in the first round tonight in about an hour. Very much overestimated them, which is crazy because they were the 1 seed and I had them at 5. And even then I was like, I don't know. Miami was one of the teams that I was really iffy on to even start the season. But clearly not even enough. Cavs at 6, underestimated them a little bit. They ended up at 4. They're just better than I thought. When they were healthy last season with Mobley, Allen, Darius Garland, when those 3 guys were healthy, they were a top 3 seed in the East, and they were really, really good. And then they just, so many injuries tanked them. And then they had to play in the play-in game, which eventually they lost both of them, which really, really was unfortunate with all those injuries. But now they're healthy. Mitchell's playing at, all NBA first team level. So for him to be up there, very, very impressive. So Cleveland at 4, Atlanta at 7. I got it right. So awesome for that. Chicago at 8. I could also get that one right. They finished the season at 10, but they were at 8. Toronto at 9. They ended the season at 9, but I guess technically they ended at 10 because they lost. And then New York at 10 was a big surprise. They should have been up more. They ended up at the 5 seed. That's huge. Jalen Brunson played a lot better than I thought he would. Both Asher and I talked about how he might have been overpaid. And both of us are in the same boat when we talk about that stuff, where it's like we would rather a team pay and spend money rather than just sit on their hands and do nothing. But we thought it's Jalen Brunson, he only had one actually really good year. Paying that much off of that 1 year is really, really risky. But he might be underpaid now with how he's played this season. He might make an All-NBA team. It didn't make the All-Star team, as I thought he should have. But so yeah, that New York I definitely underestimated them. They're at 5, but I got every single team in the East playoff field right, which is pretty crazy. I didn't get everyone right in the West. Missed out on OKC, but outside of that, I think I got everybody in there. Mavs, switch out Mavs for OKC, and I got every team in the West playoff right as well. MVP awards. MVP is Embiid. I think he's going to win it. If you just look at what the voting results have been so far, it seems like most people are putting Embiid at first. I think. Let me check out. Check out the full number. So 39% of the votes are confirmed. Embiid has 26 first place votes. Jokic has 6. Giannis has 7. And in terms of points, Embiid is first by a mile, over 100 points. And then Jokic and Giannis are fighting for second place right now. So it's going to be Embiid. He's going to win the MVP. Asher had Tatum, which was actually a really good poll because for the first couple months of the season, he was the first place guy. And sixth man of the year is going to be Brogdon or Quickly. I think Poole, it was ambitious after, because I don't think he won who won sixth man last year? It might have been Poole who won sixth man last year. I actually don't remember. Let me check. Let's see who won sixth man last year. I don't really remember. Oh, what? Hold on. Hero. It was Tyler Hero. But I think Jordan Poole was in the running. So that was, I thought he would have a better year after what happened. And he still did fine. He averaged 20 a game, but he started a lot of games as well. Most improved player was being Bones. That was not good. Obviously with all that happened in Denver, and then he goes to the Clippers and doesn't play for a while. He's playing now. He's going to be in the playoff rotation. So, but yeah, that was not good. Most improved is going to be Lowry Markkanen or SGA by a mile. No one else is even going to be close. Coach of the year is going to be Mike Brown. I had Tyronn Lue. I thought the Clippers would have been the top 3, and after missing the playoffs last year, getting up there would have been good for him. Defensive player of the year, Bam. Really disappointed in Bam he took a small step forward offensively, finally averaged 20 a game, but defensively, he didn't take a step forward, which is hard because he's already elite and all NBA first team caliber guy. But that wasn't very good. Rookie of the year, Paolo. First overall pick, being rookie of the year, not impressive. Or it's an impressive season from him, but it's not impressive to guess that. So yeah, those are my awards and my predictions to start the season. And we'll start with my predictions for this season. So yeah, let's get into it. MVP, I have it listed. Hold on. Okay, MVP. It's gonna go to Embiid, but if I had to choose, I would pick Giannis. I think the best player on the best team, and the amount of time that Middleton and Holiday missed plays into that. I think Embiid also has a case for that because he's been incredible this season. Philly has a top 3 record, and he has been good on defense, and he's leading league in scoring. And Maxey and Harden have both missed a lot of time this season, and he has been downright dominant for the entire year. But I think Giannis has been a lot better defensively. Like I don't think, and it helps to have Brook Lopez on his team. I will say that, but I don't think. And Embiid's defensive moments come in spurts because for a majority of games and not majority of the season, but a decent portion of a game, he's not great defensively. Like he's fine. You can't attack him like you can probably Jokic at the rim, but if you attack him in pick and rolls and you get him moving in space, he's not great at it. But as a rim protector, he's phenomenal. And late in games, when he really locks in, he's still an incredible defender. But I think Giannis is more well-rounded of that. He's, I think, the only person in NBA history to average 30, 10, and 5 on 55% shooting. Milwaukee was far and away the best team in the NBA. They're my championship favorite. So spoiler alert for what happens later on in the in the show when I go through my play predictions. But I think Giannis had the best season. I think Jokic, had Denver not just like stopped trying for March, I think he would have had a really, really good shot. But I think Giannis has it right now. I would give it to Giannis, but Embiid's going to win it. And I'm sure when Asher comes on, we'll talk about what the issues with how the MVP has been discussed this season. But yeah, Giannis is my MVP. Defensive player of the year, I have Jaren Jackson Jr. This is actually a really close race. If you look at what it is right now, Jaren Jackson has there's a lot of guys who have a bunch of votes. So Jaren Jackson has 14 first place votes. Brook Lopez has 7. Evan Mobley with 5. Draymond with 2. Like it is pretty balanced. I think Jaren Jackson's going to win it. But there are a lot of different people who could win it, and you could argue a lot of people. I think Jaren Jackson, I think like he took a huge step forward defensively this season. He was still in foul trouble a lot, but it was a big step down from what it was before. And he led the league. 3 blocks per game is ridiculous. He genuinely was the best rim protector in the NBA this season. Yeah, I think it goes to him. But if you pick Brook Lopez because of how good he was and how big of a step he took defensively over the past couple of seasons, I wouldn't blame you. Picked Evan Mobley, I wouldn't blame you. Draymond Green has 2 first place votes, which is insane. I think he should be all defense, but defensive player of the year, I don't think he was a top 3 defender this season. But yeah, if you picked Evan Mobley, Jaren Jackson, or Brook Lopez, I would not blame you whatsoever. All 3 are great choices. They all 3 are deserving. Like if those aren't the top 3, something would have been wrong. Most improved, I think it's Lowry. SGA is going to be second. Right now, Lowry has 13 first place votes. SGA has 2. And then it looks like Nick Claxton is going to be the third place guy. just based on these, which is pretty impressive, honestly. That's a good person to have as number two. I would have thought Jalen Brunson might have gotten a lot more recognition on that one. But I have Lowry. He was fine in Cleveland and in Chicago. Like he was okay. He was an above average player. He was a good player. But for him to get to where he is now is insane. SGA went from like a 24, 25 point per game scorer to a 30 point per game scorer, which is great. He went from a fringe all-star to potentially all NBA first team, which is a big leap. But to me, at least for what I know, I already knew that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was good. Like I knew he was good. There were a lot of people discourse around him where was like, he's just on a bad team inflating his stats, which I didn't think was true. I thought that he genuinely was a really, really good player. Did I think he would be 30 a game? No. Did I think he'd, be able to have a chance at being all NBA first team? No. But I knew that he was an all-star level talent. So for me, this jump isn't as surprising as what it is for Lowry. Lowry getting to this level is ridiculous. Like he has been one of the most efficient volume scorers in the NBA this season. I think he's the only player in NBA history to have 200 threes and 100 dunks in a season. He shoots 40% from three, 25 a game. If Utah didn't trade away their pieces at the deadline and leaned into being good, they would have been in the playoffs, and it would have been because of Lauri Markkanen. He would have been their guy. So for him going from like a above average role player to becoming the number one option on a competitive team and an all-star is insane. And I think that's what the award is for. I didn't like the fact that Ja Morant got the award last year. Not because I don't think Ja Morant improved. He did, but I think it's similar to how SGA improved. Like Ja Morant was already an all-star level talent. So him taking a leap from all-star level talent to all NBA level talent was kind of expected for a guy in his, I think, third year last year. Like it was expected for someone of his caliber to take that leap. It wasn't expected for someone like Jordan Poole to take the leap from going in the G League the season before to being, a starter on a championship team and averaging 20 a game. Like it wasn't expected for that leap to happen. I think that's my criteria for the award. It wasn't expected for Lauri Markkanen to go from above average player to an all-star. Like that leap to me is a lot bigger than all-star to all NBA. So that's why Lowry's my winner. And I think it's been that way like the entire season. Rookie of the year, Paolo. He's going to win in a landslide right now. Walker Kessler has won first place vote by one of the Utah guys. Paolo's not going to win unanimously. And there's a lot of hoo-ha about Walker Kessler getting a first place vote. He wasn't going to win unanimously. Jalen Williams is going to get another vote. But my top three is Paolo, Jalen Williams, and Walker Kessler. Paolo's my first place vote. He's been the best rookie all season. He sucked in February, but he's been good the whole year, averaging 20 a game on an okay team in Orlando as the number one option on the rookie as a rookie is very impressive. Sixth man, I have Brogdon. I have Quickly as a very close second. And on it could definitely go either way because it's weird. Like, I don't know what the criteria for sixth man is. Normally it's just who is a leading scorer off the bench, but that's not what it's been this season. That's not what the criteria has looked like this season. And Brogdon off the bench has been better than Quickly off the bench, but Brogdon hasn't started a game all season. And Quickly, when he started, has averaged like 20 a game and has been incredibly efficient. Like when he filled in for Jalen Brunson when Brunson was injured, I think right after the All-Star break or right before the All-Star break, it Quickly looked phenomenal. And whenever he started, he's been really, really good and really, really efficient. But when he's coming off the bench, he hasn't been. And that's just because he's not getting more minutes. You're not going to play him over Jalen Brunson. And you don't want two undersized guards in a closing lineup. So you're going to play a guy like Quentin Grimes or Miles McBride, who was some bigger defensive guy in that lineup. So that's why it Quickly doesn't close. So I don't know who's going to win for six man. I would probably lean Brogdon. That's the way that the voting is turning out. Brogdon has 14, Quickly has 7 for first place votes. But like it is pretty balanced. I don't know. I would probably lean Brogdon because if you think about just sixth man, he's been sixth man. Like he is been a better sixth man than Quickly by definition because he's been the sixth man more often. And when he has been the sixth man compared to when Quickly's been the sixth man, he's been better. But I don't know. That one's really, really tough. I'm not 100% sure on that one. Like, I don't know. That would go either way for me. I really like Quickly though. He's been really, really good this season. Then coach of the year, Mike Brown. He should win unanimously. He's the only guy getting first place votes. Mark Daignault's getting a lot of second place votes, who would probably be my pick for second place from the Thunder. And then third place, it would go to a number of guys. Right now, it's between JB Bickerstaff from Cleveland and Joe Mazzulla of Boston. Surprised Michael Malone isn't getting more stuff because, like, Joe Mazzulla, yeah, it's his first season, but he inherited like a roster that just went to the final. He didn't have to do that much work. Michael Malone, as much crap as we've given him on this show, had to integrate a ton of new players from the last couple of seasons, and is leading a team to a top seed in the West. I don't know. He's not going to win regardless, so it doesn't matter. Mike Brown's going to sweep it as he should. So congrats to him. And then there's a new award. We didn't talk about this award beforehand, but the Clutch Player of the Year award. To me, it should be De'Aaron Fox, without a doubt. He's been the best clutch scorer. He has the most clutch points, and he's been the most efficient. It's gonna be him. To me, it's either him, SGA, or Joel Embiid. Embiid probably overtook SGA, but it's one of those three guys. I think it's gonna be Fox pretty easily. He's been incredible. So yeah, those are my awards. A lot of them are pretty obvious. Sixth man is tough. That sixth man and defensive player of the year are the only two that are kind of for me. Everybody else, I kind of have a good idea. Now, bracket. This is what is going to be what I'm going to use. Just using the NBA bracket thing. I don't want to have to. Last year not last year when I did it, but the year before, I edited so much. It took so long. I don't really want to do that anymore. So we're just going to do this. First round, let's just get straight into it. A lot of these matchups are really, really interesting. First round, I think if Denver is really serious about being a championship contender, which I think they are, but it's up to, if they are really serious, they're going to come out on Sunday and annihilate whoever wins today. So I think it's Denver. I think they're going to win in 5 pretty handily, regardless of who plays. Let me break down both of these teams real quick. OKC and Minnesota, they have two main differences. OKC, the first difference is that they're young. They have no experience playing in the playoffs. They have 3 players who have played legit minutes in the playoffs, and that's SGA, Lou Dort, and Dario Saric. That's it. No one else in their rotation has played legit minutes in the postseason. And that's going to be a big test for them. That is going to be a big test for them to be able. How are you going to handle the playoff intensity, playoff physicality? How are you going to handle different schemes? How are you going to handle a road playoff game for guys that young? The youngest team in the NBA, their starting lineup in the play-in games is 21 years. 21. Like me. If I was starting in a playoff game, I'd crap myself. I wouldn't know what to do. So that's going to be a huge thing for them, is that youth. Minnesota has a lot more experience. They have a ton more guys who've been in postseason moments. Gobert, Karl-Anthony Towns, Anthony Edwards, Mike Conley, Kyle Anderson, like guys who have been there and know what they're doing. Like that's a huge difference between the two of them. And the other thing is size. OKC is really, really small. They don't have a center. They're the tallest guy who's going to get rotation minutes is Saric, who's 6'10". So like they do have a lot of length. Jalen Williams, both of them are really long. They do have a ton of length. Josh Giddey, Lou Dort, SGA. Oh my God, sorry. All those guys, long, lengthy. OKC has given Denver a lot of trouble this season. Denver went 3-1 against them, and the one loss they had, they didn't have Aaron Gordon or Jokic in that game, or might have been Michael Porter. They didn't have 2 starters in that game, and OKC won by 2 points. Every other game, Denver was able to win. And those games were back in January. These are 2 completely different teams as to how they were playing now. and what they look like now. Same thing with Minnesota. Last time Denver played Minnesota, D'Angelo Russell was still on the team. Like it's different teams, but like both these teams have given Denver some trouble this season in different ways. OKC, if I'm Denver, I would want OKC strictly because of the size. They're just so small, and Jokic should they're going to double Jokic immediately. They're going to get so many open looks on the perimeter. They just have to make them. And if Denver makes their open shots, if they play OKC, they're going to win in 4 or 5. Minnesota has more bodies they can just throw at Jokic. They have a strategy that I think is probably the most successful, which is they can put Karl-Anthony Towns on Jokic and then put Rudy Gobert on Aaron Gordon and just have Rudy Gobert kind of ignore Gordon on the perimeter and be like a roamer in the paint. And that's what Utah did when they had Derek Favors. And that was a really, really successful formula. They would really just play 4-on-5 defensively and just ignore one of the players on Denver and make Jokic make a play without passing and just force the passing lanes to be super, super clogged, force him to be a scorer. And it worked. It worked back then. Jokic is a completely different player now, but when teams have done that now, Denver's offense has struggled, and they definitely have to work out some kinks in that. So it'll be interesting. Oh, Jesus Christ. Sorry. It'll be interesting to see what they do because I think Minnesota wins today. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. But if I'm Denver, I want OKC. The experience and the size are 2 huge things. They should dominate OKC if they play them. But Minnesota they just have more. They have more talent. They have more that you have to worry about. Anthony Edwards, I know he sucked against the Lakers, but he's still a superstar talent. Karl-Anthony Towns is still very, very good. I think defensively, Denver matches up pretty good against Minnesota. You don't have to have Jokic on Cat. You can have him on Gobert. Keep him in the paint. Keep him there for rebounding. Keep him there for, I guess, rim protection. He's not going to do much of it, but keep him there for just a body in the paint. And he doesn't have to guard in space as much. You can use Aaron Gordon as a guy to guard Karl-Anthony Towns on the perimeter, which I think is a much, much better matchup. And I think that's the perfect matchup, honestly, for what Denver does. And Minnesota also doesn't have McDaniels or Naz Reid. Both those guys are going to be out. Naz Reid, neither of them are going to be able to play in the series. If they win this series, they might be able to play later on, but they're not going to be able to play in this series, which is huge. Those are 2 guys who give Denver a lot of trouble. So either team who they play, they should win in 5. But Minnesota's going to make them work a lot harder for it than OKC, just in my opinion. So I got Denver in 5 in that first matchup. That's going to be the longest one that I'm taking for that. Phoenix, LA, it came out about an hour ago. Paul George is probably not going to play in this, which is insane. Phoenix's injury luck the last 3 playoffs has been ridiculous. So I'm going to take Phoenix. I'll say in 6. I think that the Clippers are still good. They can take a couple of games from them. But the firepower for Phoenix is going to be too much. And I don't think without Paul George, they don't have the defensive bodies for Booker and Kevin Durant. They just don't. So it'll be interesting. I want to see how DeAndre Ayton plays in this series. That's going to be the key for me. How does DeAndre Ayton play? Because he's going to have a very, very favorable matchup against oh my God. You're going to have a very favorable matchup against Zubats and Plumlee. He should dominate those 2 guys, but we'll see. We'll see. Sacramento Golden State. This is the series to watch for me. I'm going to go out on a limb here. I'm saying Sacramento in 7. Golden State cannot win on the road. They cannot win. They are a completely different team when they play on the road. When they played the Nuggets, they fell apart. When they stopped making jumpers, they fell apart. And they just could not reel it back in. Now, playoffs are different. Sacramento and Golden State are only about a couple hours apart. They're going to have a lot of home fans there. But this is the first time the Kings have been in the playoffs in 16 seasons. Those fans are going to be loud. They're going to show out. So it's going to be interesting to see how that road dynamic plays out because it's not really going to be a road game for Golden State because it's not that far. The travel is not going to be that different. But I think mentally it's going to be tough. I know they have Wiggins back, which is huge because that starting lineup with Wiggins in there, it's been the best starting lineup in the NBA this season. But Sacramento does so many cool things offensively, and with Mike Brown being a former Golden State assistant, they know Golden State better than anybody, especially being in the Pacific Division. So it's going to be interesting. This is going to be a great matchup. This is my like series to watch, for the entire playoffs. Really, this is going to be very, very fun. I think every home team wins every game, and Sacramento wins in 7. Look, I mean they're heavily fit. Like I feel like people are underestimating how awful Golden State has been on the road this season. Like they have genuinely been horrific on the road. One of the worst road teams in the NBA, counting like the Pistons and like they had an equal road record to the Rockets this season. The Rockets. Think about that. Just think about that before you make the sense. So that's what I'm banking on. Golden State's just too bad on the road. So I'll take Sacramento. Memphis Lakers. This is another really, really interesting series. I've kind of gone back and forth on this one. And if you look at like the fan picks, it's 52-47 in favor, or 53-47 in favor of the Lakers. Realistically, I would probably pick the Lakers. I think the Lakers win that series. But I'm still going back and forth on it because they played so bad. D'Angelo Russell cannot play in the playoffs. They traded so much well, not so much, but like they had to work hard to get D'Angelo Russell onto this team. And the first game he plays in the postseason, he doesn't even play in the second half. And you have to play Schroeder over him. So that's if D'Angelo Russell is not going to play well, they're screwed. Without Steven Adams and without Brendan Clark, the paint is going to be wide open. Jaren Jackson Jr., it's going to be interesting because he can really sag off of they're going to start Xavier Tillman and Jaren Jackson, Memphis is. And Jaren Jackson is going to guard Jared Vanderbilt, and he's just going to roam off him. He's going to let Jared Vanderbilt shoot threes as much as he wants and just not pay attention to him whatsoever. So he's still going to be able to guard the paint. However, they don't have any paint protection outside of Jaren Jackson without Steven Adams. And they have no paint presence offensively without Steven Adams. And that's going to be huge because Anthony Davis has still been an elite defender this season. So that's the matchup. Who wins the paint battle? I think it's going to be the Lakers. LeBron, he's very clearly laboring, but when healthy, I cannot bet against LeBron James and Anthony Davis. They have shown me too many times. You show me too many times that you just can't do it. So I'm going to say in 6 that the Lakers win. But it's tough. Memphis could easily win. If Memphis wins, I'm not going to be surprised. I just don't have faith that they're going to be able to protect the paint. But we'll see. We'll definitely see. East first round, Milwaukee's going to cakewalk in 4 on they're going to destroy whoever, either Chicago or Miami. They're going to kill them. I don't even think I have to explain why. 97-3. They're going to destroy them. Miami would definitely be the harder matchup just because they know how to play defense against him or against Giannis. But with Chris Middleton there, it's going to be easy. Cleveland, New York. This is the matchup to watch in the East. 2 really, really good teams. That starts tomorrow. New York is getting Julius Randle back, which is huge. He's been phenomenal this season. This one's tough. I'm gonna go Cleveland in 7. Cleveland, out of every single playoff team in the East, they are by far the worst road team, and that's gonna be huge because New York is a good road team, but Cleveland's an elite home team. So it definitely balances out. But I think Cleveland wins in 7. This is going to be a fun series to watch. Mitchell versus Brunson is going to be great. Evan Mobley versus Julius Randle is going to be great. Darius Garland versus whoever in New York decides to put on him. He's going to be the X factor for Cleveland. It'll be very, very interesting to watch. This is going to be a fun series. This is going to be just pure hoops. Pure hoops. That's going to be fun. Philly, Brooklyn. Philly in 6. Probably 5, but I'll say 6. I think Brooklyn can take a couple off of them. Brooklyn can play really, really small outside of Claxton. And Claxton's been really, really good this season. I'm surprised he didn't get more Defensive Player of the Year consideration. He's 2nd in blocks and 2nd in total blocks as well. What is happening? God, I've been up for like 5 hours. Why am I tired? Um, but I think Philly, like Joel Embiid is just too good. James Harden just too good. They've been phenomenal this season. Yeah, I think they're gonna win pretty easily. Brooklyn, if Brooklyn makes their 3-point shots, they'll have a chance. They'll have a chance to make some games close. But Claxton's good, but he's not good enough to guard Embiid. He's not big enough to guard Embiid. Embiid, if he really wants to, he can just bully him wherever he wants and get to his spots really, really easily. Claxton's got length, and he in the paint, he's gonna be able to block shots and deter people like Harden, like Tobias Harris, Maxey, who drive into the rim. But against Embiid, I don't think he's gonna be able to do much. That and so I say Philly in 6. Boston, Atlanta, Boston in 4. Pretty self-explanatory. Atlanta, I was surprised they beat Miami, but Boston's just way, way, way too good. Denver, Phoenix. I'm trying to put my bias aside when I do this, but the games that Phoenix played, like they haven't lost with Kevin Durant in the lineup, but they haven't played any good teams. They played, I think, one playoff team that was, or I guess technically 2 playoff teams. That was Minnesota and OKC. And they squeaked out wins in both those games. Every other game that they played against playoff teams, the team or they did. That's the thing. They didn't play playoff teams. They played one team that was currently in the playoff picture, meaning top 8. That was Denver, and they played them twice. And Denver didn't start anybody in either game. Aaron Gordon was the only starter who played in either game. And they won those games by a combined 11 points and got outscored in the second half of those games by a lot. So that makes me anxious. I'm going to say Denver in 6. This is me very, very confident in Denver's offense because this series is going to be 125 to 118 every single game. God, it's going to be that every single game. Neither team has any chance of guarding the other guy. Jokic dominates DeAndre Ayton. The last series that these two teams played, I understand it was tough for Jokic to be efficient, but he didn't have any help. Aaron Gordon was dreadful that series. Michael Porter Jr. hurt his back. His starting backcourt was Austin Rivers and Facu Campazzo, neither of whom are playing in the NBA right now. Austin Rivers is technically, but he's not getting rotation minutes. The bench was awful. There were still injuries. It was just bad. That team was not good that they played when they got swept. However, I think Jokic is much better now than he was then. Denver's healthy. They're much better built offensively to beat what Phoenix has. And one huge thing, Jamal Murray is not going to have to go against Mikal Bridges. Mikal Bridges plays Jamal Murray better than anybody in the NBA. And Jamal Murray historically plays really, really good against Phoenix. And Devin Booker historically does not play very good against Denver. So that's the matchup I'm watching. Kevin Durant is going to get his. He's fine. Aaron Gordon, you can put him on. He'll be fine. He's going to put up 27, 30 a game on 56% shooting. And you're just going to have to deal with that because he's Kevin Durant. That's just how it is. But shutting off Booker, CP3, DeAndre Ayton, that's going to be the other key. And I think Denver's starting lineup is much better than Phoenix's starting lineup. I think Phoenix has the advantage when it comes to shooting guard, small forward. But Aaron Gordon's better than Josh Okogie. Or Michael Porter Jr. is better than Josh Okogie. Jokic is much better than Ayton. And I think at this stage in their career, Jamal Murray has played much, much better than Chris Paul has this season. So that's going to be it. Is Denver being able to guard the actions that Phoenix runs in terms of pick and rolls when they choose to attack Porter and Jokic is going to be key. But both those guys have shown this season that when they lock in defensively, they're good. That's my prediction. So I think Denver wins. I also think if Denver loses, it's not going to be surprising. I think if Denver is in a competitive series, meaning 6 or 7 games against Phoenix, that should be like, that's the expectation, I think. If they lose in 5 against Phoenix, that's a disappointment. Obviously, losing the first round is a disappointment. But if they win or are in a competitive series at the very least against Phoenix, I think that's where they are right now. And because I think Phoenix is genuinely pretty good. So, yeah, I think Denver in 6. Sacramento Lakers. Whoo. It's tough. because Sacramento's defense is horrendous and Lakers offense is horrendous. So who's gonna bend first? This would be a very, very interesting series. To me, if the Lakers win this series, it means that D'Angelo Russell played good. It means that D'Angelo Russell played well. And I think in this series, if D'Angelo Russell plays well, they win. I don't have confidence he's gonna play well in 2 series though. I would say Sacramento in 6. Yeah. I would say Sacramento in 6. Oh man. It's tough. This one is really tough because these two teams haven't matched up. Like they're in the same division, but like I don't really remember watching a Kings Lakers game this season. That one's gonna be tough. Oh, I don't know. This one's a toss-up. Lakers Kings is a toss-up. I'll go Kings in 6. Milwaukee Cleveland, Milwaukee in 5. Honestly, I love Cleveland, but they match up horribly against Milwaukee. Evan Mobley's been good. Jared Allen have been good. Those two guys are incredible defensively, but Giannis and Brook are probably the 2 worst guys they could possibly face because they're the only 2 guys in the Eastern Conference who can match up with them size-wise. Like most games, Cleveland is going to dominate the boards, dominate the paint because of Jared Allen and Brook Lopez and Evan Mobley. But in this series, these are the 2 guys who they cannot beat, who they can't beat in size, which really sucks. And then in terms of the Drew Holiday, or Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell backcourt, they have Drew Holiday back there. Darius Garland's going to be a key. I'll say 6. I'll say 6. I'll be generous to Cleveland because I think Darius Garland is going to be able to win a couple games because Grayson Allen's going to be the guy defending him. Maybe Jay Crowder. I don't know. But even then, I don't think Jay Crowder can guard Darius Garland. So I would say Milwaukee in 6, maybe 5. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt for 6. Milwaukee's matches up so. This is just a tough matchup for Cleveland. They would have been screwed from the start. Successful season from Cleveland, regardless, making it to the second round of the playoffs after not making it to the playoffs for 6 years or so. Good for them. Philly, Boston, series to watch in the second round. I don't know. This one's hard. This one's really, really hard. Philly and Boston have matched up 2 times in the playoffs now. Boston won in 5 against them in 2018, when Philly was fully healthy and Boston was missing Kyrie Irving and Gordon Hayward. Boston won that series pretty easily. Will they be able to beat them 3 times in a row? That's the thing. Philly matches up good against Milwaukee. Milwaukee matches good against Boston. Philly doesn't match up well against Boston. Boston matches up well against the Sixers because they have the size to throw at Embiid. They have Horford, they have Rob Williams, they have Grant Williams. Like they have Grant Williams small, but he's PJ Tucker light. Like he's just a stout brick wall that they can throw at centers. And they have the defenders to throw at Marcus Smart or James Harden and Tyrese Maxey. Like Derek White, like their starting lineup would likely be Smart, White, Brown, Tatum, Horford, or Williams. Probably Horford. That's like perfectly matching. That's as good of a matchup as you could ask against Philly. Because you have the side, you have all the defenders in length possible to disrupt Maxey, Harden, and Embiid. I'll say Boston in 7. I'm going to say Boston in 7. Embiid is going to have like a 35 point per game series in this. He averages 30. I love Embiid, but he's a playoff dropper. He does not elevate his game in the postseason. So he is going to have to average 33 to 35 in the postseason for them to win that series, I think. And I think he's going to average upwards of 30. But I have no confidence in James Harden performing in high stakes playoff games. I do not. He has consistently wet the bed when it comes to those moments. And I don't want to be mean, but that's just the reality of the situation when it comes to James Harden. Throughout his career, he has not been good in the playoffs. When it comes in big moments, he's like last year, he was fine up until games 5 and 6. He sucked. The two most must-win games against Miami, he sucked. Game 4, he was incredible. He had like 37. He was great. He had the dagger shots to tie the series. But then when it was must win elimination game in game 6, he sucked. Game 5, he sucked. And that's just been the story of his career. So I just have to go with history, and I got to say that Embiid and Max are going to have good series, and Harden is going to let him down. And then Boston, I don't think they have anybody to guard Tatum and Brown. So that's what's good. I think Embiid is going to be the reason why this even gets to 7, honestly. Denver, Sacramento. Sacramento's offense is better than Denver's by technicality, but Denver's defense is much better than Sacramento's, both by statistics and by eye tests. Sacramento is one of the worst defenses in the league, and Denver, when they lock in, have been one of the better defenses in the NBA. I would say Denver in 6 for this one. Sabonis playing against Jokic has been good. Over the past 2 seasons, he has been pretty good. But Denver's just too good offensively. And with how bad Sacramento is on defense, I don't think that this series would be very competitive. I'll give the Kings 2 games. I think Denver, in their wins, would be able to handily defeat the Kings in this one. Yeah, I would think that's the thing. Yeah, I'm pretty confident. If Denver and Sacramento match up, I'm pretty confident Denver will be able to win. Sacramento is good. Like Sacramento is very, very good. They're underratedly good. I feel like a lot of people are sleeping on them. I don't know how they're going to match up against a legit good offense. Golden State is a very good offense, but on the road they sucked. On the road they just melt down and become the Hornets. I don't know what happens. That's why I'm picking them over Golden State. The Lakers have a dreadful half-court offense. Is horrendous. It's so bad. Even after the trades, like their defense is really good, but the offense just sucks. And to me, what's easier to break is a defense than an offense to just suddenly become good again. So that's why I would pick Sacramento. I think their offense is going to be able to break the Lakers defense where the Lakers offense breaks Kings defense, because it's better for a good offense. Good offense always beats good defense. Always. So yeah, that's why I would pick Denver's good on the road. Don't let the record skew your opinion of them. When they play their guys on the road, they're good. A lot of the road losses came with them just either early in the season when they were trying to figure out stuff and get kinks out, or they just rested a bunch of people and didn't care. That's the reality of their road losses. So Sacramento, Denver on the road against Sacramento has already won 1 game, and the other game that they lost, they didn't have Jamal Murray. So yeah, I would say Denver in 6. I would be pretty confident about that. Milwaukee, Boston, 1-2 in the finals. I don't know. I'll go Milwaukee. Milwaukee in 7. Milwaukee pushed the series to 7 last year without Chris Middleton. I think with Chris Middleton, they would be able to win. They'd be able to pull through. I do think Boston is better this season than they were last season. The biggest issue Boston had was I think Marcus Smart is a good point guard, but it's not what he's like. He is a score first guy. He has games. He has games where he has good assist numbers and he averages upwards of 6-7 a game. Like he is a good passer, but he's a score first guy. And they go out and get Malcolm Brogdon in the offseason, and he is their pass first floor general type of guy. So they are better, but I think Milwaukee also is better than last season. I think Giannis is better than last season. I think Jrue Holiday is better than last season. And I'm banking on Chris Middleton being healthy. I'm banking on Chris Middleton playing like we know Chris Middleton can play in the playoffs, because the dude turns into Michael Jordan in the postseason. So if Chris Middleton plays like Chris Middleton in the playoffs, Milwaukee is going to be able to win. I think Boston has I still think Boston, if you put the ball in the hands of Tatum and Brown in clutch situations, they still haven't really proven to make competent decisions, in my opinion, at least. Just from watching this season, in clutch situations, if you make them make a play that's not score the basketball, they can't do it. They can't do it. So that's my that is my Buda Baker requested a trade. So yeah, I think that's why Milwaukee would win. Denver, Milwaukee in the finals. 1-1 in the finals is really, really rare. One seeds have been getting packed up lately in the postseason. So 1-1 in the finals is really, really rare. But Denver matches up great against Milwaukee. I'm just gonna say right now, Denver matches up really, really good against Milwaukee. I'm gonna say Nuggets in 6. I'm letting my bias affect this. I'm sorry. I'm going to say Nuggets in 6. I am confident on the fact that Denver is going to be able to reach a level in the postseason that we saw very rarely in the regular season. We saw it against championship contenders. And the last month after they beat Memphis early March, they turned it off. They just shut it down. They're like, all right, we're going to sleepwalk the rest of the year. We're up 8.5 games on Memphis for the second seed. We can just do whatever we want. And to a degree, they were right. But when they played good teams, they turned it on. When they played New York, when they played Philly, when they played Milwaukee, when the bench played Phoenix, they played good. Against good teams, they played good. And that is my silver lining from the last month of the season. So to me, that's what I'm banking on. Denver against playoff teams and against good teams, they have a level where they play at. And I think this postseason, if all goes well, this is what it's gonna be. Milwaukee, hey, I love Milwaukee, but they just, for whatever reason, Denver, whenever they play against Milwaukee, they shoot the absolute cover off the basketball. They shoot lights out. Jokic always comes to play. If Denver or if Milwaukee wants to win, they're going to have to try Giannis on Jokic because Brook Lopez can't guard him. Bobby Portis can't guard him. Giannis is your defensive guy. He's much better off the ball than he is on the ball as a weak side rim protector. And that's the way that they guarded Jokic last time. It didn't work. He put up 30 and 10. It didn't work. And that's what Jokic has been doing against Milwaukee in the playoffs. Or in the regular season for the last 4 seasons. He's absolutely dominated that matchup. And Mike Budenholzer has not been able to figure that out. And if Denver gets to this point, I'm going to assume it's because Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic have found a level where they're just unstoppable because that's what it's going to take for them to get to the finals. So that's my official prediction. It's on record. Nuggets in 6 over the Bucks in the NBA Finals. So it's going to be it. Long episode. Apologies for all the freaking yawns. I don't know what's going on. I've been awake for a while. But yeah, that's going to be it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. Very, very excited for the playoffs to start. This is going to be one of the better postseasons in recent memory, I think.